Why is this so bright in here? This is Pamela Riemenschneider. I'm the retail editor for Blue Book Services, and this is the Produce Reporter Week in Review. Greg, I'm back in the office. The peaches are back, but the
How
peaches are
odd is,
back.
yeah, how odd is it that we're both in the office still? Well, don't get used to it.
Right. Yeah. I have my Led Zeppelin California shirt for you because actually it's Ike's because you'll be heading to California next week for the food service conference. Gonna soak up some of that Monterey weather.
I'll try not to get a sunburn.
Don't get the Jeep and drive around with the top down and underestimate how much sun you're getting. How about that?
Yeah, that's a
Um,
good idea. Well, but when we talked last week, you had just barely gotten through the expo at the Organic Produce Summit. So now that you got through it all, you had time to reflect on some of the new stuff. It looked like there was quite a bit of new stuff and some new things that we hadn't seen before, which isn't always the case at a regional show.
the case particularly at an organic show, and I will note that some of the new things were definitely sustainable packaging oriented, or even just packaging oriented, to try to maintain that or either organic integrity or organic ring through. But the sustainability piece of it I thought was really interesting. And then there were a couple of items that were value added that I hadn't really seen in the organic sphere. My favorite one, number one, was Alpine Produce, the Hippie Organics brand. They had mango fries, and I actually wanted to try them, but I didn't see them as an option to try. I saw it in the new product showcase, but the thing about the mango fries that appealed to me is that normally fresh cut mango has to be firmer than you'd like when you eat it. And so this kind of like turns it from a flaw into a feature, right? So I thought that was really interesting. And I thought it was a decent sized container because I saw this teeny tiny snack size organic clump chunk at HEB a while back. And I was like, this is enough to wet your palate. And then you're just like, you know what I would really like? More mango. This was like 2 ounces. So I thought that was really interesting. And then Cal Organic, Grimway Company had some bags of processed greens. And the thing that caught my eye about them was that when you are a store checker and a cereal store checker, you're used to seeing, especially Rainbow Shard, in that Wet Rack Beautiful display. And that is kind of the appeal of that product for a lot of people, is just how pretty it looks. There are so many pictures of a wet rack that feature that Rainbow Shard. And in this bag that you could see on the new product display, you could really see the colorful stems of it. And I thought that taking an organic product that you're used to seeing in its natural state and doing a fresh cut version might turn some people off, but then when you see that it's so close to what the familiar, I don't know, for me it was one of those things where normally when I do my expo report, it's the things that had me go, hey, what is that? Or stop and go, what are we talking about here? Because you and I see a lot of shows. I probably see more shows than you do. And I see a lot of new products and I see a lot of trade show exhibits. I want to talk about the things that made me stop, that got me to go, hey, tell me more about this. And I feel like as a buyer walking through the floor, the similar is the case where you're like, I want to know the things that got someone's attention. And so the 8 things that I picked definitely go under that kind of thing, or they're just someone who roped me in and said, hey, come look at this, because that also works for me too.
Well, it would only work if it was something innovative, right?
Right, right. And I did miss one. Somebody pointed it out. And I love it when somebody reaches out to me after I publish something and says, hey, you missed this. You totally didn't see my new product. It was a really cool ginger package. It's kind of a pillow pouch. It looks like a pillow. It kind of differentiates the ginger because especially with organic ginger, we want to have a package on that just to maintain the integrity, maintain the ring on it. So this one, I'm gonna do a special shout out to that product in a newsletter coming soon.
Well, one of the things we've been covering a lot, seems like every month, is Grub Market acquiring somebody. And we don't have a Grub Market update, but we do have an update on a company that also acquires a lot of companies, and that's FreshEdge. They acquired Western Sky, which is a grower shipper in Salinas, California area. And it's different than a lot of their acquisitions, which have tended to be in the wholesale middle market processor, especially with food service space. And so I saw this and I reached out to Greg Corsaro, who is the president of FreshEdge, and asked him, is this a different strategy? And he said it's not really a different strategy. They have acquired grower shippers in the past, although they tend to acquire the middle market type companies because it fits their business model better. But sourcing is absolutely part of their business model. And he's a business professional, so he used the vertical and horizontal reach explanation for it. So I thought that was interesting to see and see how that plays out.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned Grub Market and FreshEdge because it all relates to peaches, and I'm going to tell you how. So I am rolling in stone fruit right now. Like this week, my family has eaten more stone fruit than we can absolutely, like, I cannot, you have to watch the TikToks of it. So at OPS, Jamara reached out to me and said, hey, you came and visited the Dolce Vita operation when we first got it going. We'd like you to come back out, and can you come when you're at OPS? And I said, it's a 2-hour drive from Monterey and then 3 hours to the airport in San Jose. And it is real hot in Central California. So I wasn't really prepared to do something like that. So instead, Kelly Harris was down at Gelson's doing one of their promotions, and she bought a retail case of the nectarines for me and brought it to OPS. And I took it home in my suitcase. I'm a master at packing swag coming home from. So everything, I maybe lost like 3 pieces of fruit to bruising, which is amazing.
You brought your
So,
own bubble wrap?
you know what? I had a pillow with me,
A pillow
actually.
pack.
Yes. So it's in my suitcase and a pillow on top, and then in a hard side suitcase. It's a whole thing. I am the master at getting stuff home. So I got it home. It it was close to ripe because it was from a grocery store. Like it was a retail pack. It was the whole case, but it was what was in the retail back room. And so I also coincidentally had a pickup for the peach truck on Saturday. And of course, the email that they sent me, they decided to add back a stop in Austin after they had skipped us. And I put yes, and I ordered one of the boxes. And then when I'm in the checkout, they're like, hey, your first box was $42. Do you want a $17 second box? And I'm like doing the paper towel math of it all. You know how you're like, this double roll is this many sheets or whatever. And I'm just like, man, that's almost back to the original price that I used to pay for a 25-pound box. So,
So
okay,
50% more for only a third of the price. How
yes,
can you turn that down?
I can. but but when you consider that I have already a case of nectarines that were ripening on my counter, and I bring home 24 pounds of peaches and add it to the mix, I'm like a fruit ripener here at my
You need to
house.
have your own cold storage facility.
Right? No, no, not cold. We can no chilling zone here. We don't want to kill the flavor.
Well, that's
Once
after it gets ripe.
Yeah, once it comes up to temperature, you can't put it back in the killing zone. Anyhow, so I don't even know how many pounds is a case of Dolce Vita nectarines that we start eating, and they are just as good as I remembered. This is so when I talk about stone fruit having exceptions at retail, and that there are programs that are, they do a really great job of making sure that the fruit arrives to a consumer in the way that you're hoping for. That's one of them. Lorian peaches are another one. If you get to a retailer that does a really good job, there are premium varieties. And I even talked to the Harry and David lady at the Organic Produce Summit about how they pick the fruit that they're going to send out to either the local markets versus their national markets. So the Dolce Vita, amazing. We ate an entire case. The last one we finished on Wednesday, and I'm about nectarined out. But you know what? Now it's time for peaches. But the plot twist on the peaches that brings Brothers Produce into it, recently acquired by Grub Market, and Piazza Produce, which is a FreshEdge company, is that the Peach truck, in order to expand their distribution and not have that giant truck going all over the country, is that you were picking it up directly from a distributor's truck instead of the big Peach truck. So I have to admit, I was super, super skeptical when I saw the Brothers Produce truck doing my Peach truck pickup. It was underwhelming compared to the previous ones because it's not this huge fanfare thing with all these people. I was 10 minutes late after the pickup time, so maybe there was a line when it first opened. But to see that it was just a little box truck, I was like, oh no, are these gonna... The whole appeal of the Peach truck was supposed to be that it's removing the layers of the distribution system to make a better experience for consumers. So I'm like super skeptical until I started eating them last night, and they're amazing. And there you go.
So it turns out that it can be smarter to involve the fresh produce professionals already in the supply chain.
Who would have thought? And I noticed that Ross Nelson, who works for FreshEdge, was at Piazza Produce doing a peach truck pickup on LinkedIn, and he ordered a box for himself. He's still got a couple of days before he can try them and see. So is it the retailers that are the problem with the peaches? You know, because it was really, really great. And actually, I have so many peaches that Uli had basketball practice last night, and I was passing them out to the other parents. I have this tray, like a half sheet pan, cake pan, like that I set them out on while they're ripening, and I was like, here, you want some peaches? Please take some peaches. They taste amazing, and everyone was super happy that I'm giving them this amazing fruit. I've still got 2 sheet pans downstairs, and I have already, I think I left one downstairs. I have already eaten 4 peaches today.
Well, they can blend up and make a wonderful drink.
Oh yeah, peach blini. Yeah, I am totally there. And that's what I'm going to have to be doing later on today, because they are all at perfect ripeness. If I don't get them in the freezer, like blanch them and get them in the freezer, then I'm going to lose probably about 20 pounds of peaches. But happy to report that the direct to consumer model with a wholesaler added into it still works for the peach truck. In store, not so much, especially since it was like $5 a pound.
Yeah. Well, I was skeptical that you were all going to pull it together with FreshEdge and Grub Market, but you did. So nice job.
Right. On that note, that's it for the Produce Reporter Week in Review. If you are not getting the Produce Reporter newsletter, you need to go to producebluebook.com and sign up. And if I was going to pay for the music rights, I would have the presidents of the United States of America singing millions of peaches for me. But I'll just put that on TikTok.
Maybe you could just put a YouTube link in the story.
Right?
Bottom for a week in review. Hey, why not?
It's fair use, isn't it? We're a news organization.
We're linking to YouTube. It's fine.